Yo guys, welcome back. My name is Nathan and today I'm going to be discussing 10 NHL prospects that will dominate the 2020s. Now, just like a lot of you beauties, I am spending my day in the house because of some unfortunate circumstances, so I thought there's no better way to spend my morning than to rank the 10 prospects that will dominate the 2020s and the years to come. So, who do I see as the best prospects for this 2020 decade, and who do I see being drafted in this decade who will dominate for the next few years? Watch till the end for all my picks and rankings, and of course hit that subscribe button if you're new. Now, for today's video, I tried to include as many prospects as possible from different NHL drafts. I have prospects from 2019, but I also have prospects from as late as the 2023 NHL draft to get an idea of what the next few drafts might be, the star power there, and which prospects are most likely to dominate the 2020s decade. But we're going to start out with my first prospect who I think will dominate the 2020s. I have Alexis Lafreniere of the Rimouski Oceanic. Now, the 2020 first overall pick, most likely, has had an amazing year, and to me is one of the prospects throughout this whole next decade will be one of the superstars. He'll end this next decade being around 28 to 29, and next year will be a force to be reckoned with, and is one of the most likely guys to win the Calder Trophy. And Lafreniere has also been having an amazing season. In 52 QMJHL games, has gotten 112 points, and also got the World Juniors MVP at age 18 with 10 points in 5 games. Not bad whatsoever, and Lafreniere is a guy that no matter where he ends up going to, will lead a franchise, not just in offensive ability, but in pure potential and pure talent. And now coming in at number 2, one of the few drafted prospects in this top 10, but still deserves to be mentioned 100%, I have Kirill Kaprizov of the Minnesota Wild. Now, the 22-year-old Russian winger is having another excellent season in the KHL. In 57 games, has had 33 goals, 29 assists, for 62 points. And in the playoffs is a point per game with 4 points in 4 games played as a 22-year-old. To me, Kirill Kaprizov is the best prospect right now in hockey when it comes to being drafted. Some of the other undrafted prospects I think can be better, but when it comes to drafted prospects right now, not including 2020, I think Kaprizov is the man. When it comes to pure offensive talent, it is beaming for Kaprizov. And that's a player that now with Kevin Fiala playing so well will be an absolute force for the Minnesota Wild. Now moving on to my third prospect who I think will dominate the 2020s, I have Shane Wright of the Kingston Frontenacs. Now, Shane Wright is the likely first overall pick in the 2022 NHL draft, but so far is having a better point per game season than Connor McDavid's first OHL year. Shane Wright has been absolutely unbelievable and has been getting better and better. Now, this 16-year-old Ontario kid in 58 games played so far has gotten 39 goals, 27 assists, and 66 points in the OHL as a 15/16-year-old. And again, he is in the 2022 NHL draft, so you also have the year after this year and the year in his draft year before he's officially drafted. He's already well above a point per game and has been getting a better point per game pace than Connor McDavid in his first OHL year. So yeah, I would be pretty inclined to say that Shane Wright is pretty good at hockey, at the very least. But the 2022 NHL draft is really the draft that keeps on giving. And at my number 4 spot, my 4th prospect, who I think will dominate the NHL in the 2020s, I have Brandt Lambert. Now, the 16-year-old Finnish forward has had a pretty successful season. Just at 16 years old, he's been able to play 4 Liiga games and has gotten 2 assists and 2 points. Super impressive. And again, for a guy that young, you almost never see that. Not a lot of Liiga players are able to get half a point per game in their draft years, even after their draft years, and Liiga is a very solid league, obviously. But so far in the Junior A SM Liiga has gotten 38 points in 42 games. And again, those numbers are pretty similar to a lot of other guys that would be in their draft year. I mean, if you got that in your draft year, it would be pretty solid, and you'd be a player that would definitely be drafted probably in the top 3 rounds. But Brandt Lambert is a guy that's already at that point, 2 years for his draft year, and has already played great in the Liiga. So at age 16, is already ready for men's league play in a Liiga, which is not easy to do. And now coming in at number 5, my 5th prospect who I think will dominate the 2020s, I have Quinton Byfield. Now the 17-year-old Canadian center is, for the most part, looked at as the 2nd overall pick in the 2020 NHL draft, and I definitely do agree with that. Quinton Byfield is a guy that I'm not sure is on Alexis Lafreniere's level, but is still an elite, amazing prospect, and if he turns out as a power forward blend of playmaking style, that's a guy that I think could score upwards of 90 points in the NHL, maybe even 100, and have the amazing physical aspect in his game. When you factor in the defense as well, Quinton Byfield is a guy that at the NHL level could almost be unstoppable. But now going on to number 6, my 6th prospect who I think will dominate the NHL in the 2020s, I have Aatu Räty. Now Räty is one of the more unique prospects and special prospects in the 2021 draft, projected to be the 1st overall pick in 2021 and the 1st Finnish player to ever go 1st overall. And personally, I'm totally hoping for that. Now the 17-year-old Finnish center so far in 12 Liiga games has 2 goals, 2 assists for 4 points, and also in the U20 World Juniors for Finland was able to get 3 points in 7 games. Not bad whatsoever, and the offensive skills for Räty are off the charts. When it comes to potential, I think he will be the best prospect in 2021 and will be the 1st Finnish player to ever go 1st overall. And although Brandt Lambert has a pretty solid chance in 2022, Räty is really Finland's only hope. But Räty will still have some competition, and very good competition at that. Going to my 7th prospect who I think will dominate in the 2020s, I have the projected 2nd overall pick in 2021, Brandt Clarke. Now, the 17-year-old Canadian defenseman, who by the way has played most of this season as a 16-year-old, has just been amazing throughout this OHL season. As a defenseman at mostly age 16 and 17, in 57 games, has gotten 6 goals, 32 assists for 38 points. He's around that area where you would draft him in the first 2 rounds if he was eligible this year. But again, being eligible next year, I think he'll kind of take the same route as Jamie Drysdale, being in the OHL and being over a point per game next year. But Brandt Clarke has amazing two-way ability. Defensively, he's very solid, already age 17, and the offensive skills will be an absolute blockbuster and will project him, in my opinion, to the 2nd overall pick. And now coming in at number 8, my 8th prospect who I think will dominate in the 2020s, my 1st and only prospect for the 2023 NHL draft, I have Connor Bedard. Now, at age 14, turning 15 in July, Bedard is super awesome to watch. As a 5'8" forward right now, although there is a lot of room to grow, the Canadian British Columbia forward is a guy that has been having an amazing season so far with the CSSHL, and is a guy that I think will dominate the WHL once he officially gets drafted. Now, we are still 4 years away from Bedard actually being drafted, but the potential 1st overall pick in 2023, all the hype around him is warranted. We haven't really seen anybody dominate the CSSHL like he has. In 36 games this year at age 14, has 43 goals, 41 assists for 84 points. And being born in British Columbia, he's a guy that will be entered for the WHL Bantam draft after this year, and I think will be a stud for the next couple of years. Again, this is super early, and he is still 4 years from being drafted, but this guy is serious and does have the potential to be not just the 1st overall pick in 2023, but be one of the best draft prospects we see in the next 5 years. Now, I would be lying to you guys if I didn't put any 2019 draft prospects in this list, because a lot of them are still prospects at this point. Not Capo Caco, Jack Hughes, or even Kirby Dach, but a lot of the other guys are super great, and when it comes to the best prospects, are leading the charge. Now, it's pretty much a tie for me right now between Alex Turcotte and Cole Caufield, but I decided to put Cole Caufield at the number 9 spot because I think he just has a more clear-cut path right now to be a star for the Montreal Canadiens. Now, the 15th overall pick in 2019 is having a great season in the NCAA, and even though his season is now over, he's a player that I think for the Montreal Canadiens could score upwards of 40 goals if he pans out right. Now, Cole Caufield was able to end his season at a point per game in the NCAA at age 18, which is super hard to do. In 36 games, got 19 goals, 17 assists for 36 points. And although at the World Juniors he was not all that great, I think it's less of a concern just because of the ice time and the teammates he was playing with. I think we could potentially see him with the Montreal Canadiens for a bit next year. Although it is a little bit unlikely, I think we'll once again see him in the NCAA next season for Montreal. I think they want to keep the patience with him, which for working on his overall game is definitely important. But for Montreal, I think he will be a star for them someday, and just in the next coming years, will start to dominate the NHL as his goal scoring ability becomes obvious. Now, before I get into my number 10 prospect who will dominate the 2020s, I also want to give a couple honorable mentions to guys that did miss this top 10. Now, the first one that I wanted to mention, just as a prospect that is too early to tell right now, in a draft that is too early to tell, the 2024 draft, the first overall pick in that draft will be Aaron Kiviharju, but it is so far away that I don't even know what to expect from these guys, so I didn't include him yet. But Kiviharju, Finnish-born player, looks to be a potential first overall pick, and if Aatu doesn't go first overall, Kiviharju has a very good chance right now. Also want to mention Alex Turcotte, who just missed because of Caufield, but also deserves the same spot. And pretty much the rest of the top 10 in the 2020 draft I could have put on here. You have guys like Lucas Raymond, Anton Lindell, Tim Stützle, Marco Rossi, that are going to be amazing NHL players in no time. But now we can move on to my number 10, my 10th prospect who I think will dominate the 2020s. I could have definitely put Yaroslav Askarov here, but I'm going to go with Swedish goaltender Jesper Wallstedt. Wallstedt is, to me, the best goalie prospect, at least right now, going to be drafted in the 2020s. At age 17, the Swedish forward is already 6'3", 209 pounds, and is an absolute beast. Now, he turned 17 this season, but already is such a beast. In the Super Elite League in 28 games, has a .253 goals against average and a .923 save percentage. Also was able to play one SHL game recently and had a .944 save percentage like an absolute man he is. And I don't really need to even explain this because he has Wall in his name. His name is Jesper Wallstedt. And he's a goaltender, might be even better than the Yaroslav Askarov in my opinion, and that to me is just absolutely perfect. You can't make anything better than that. Having Wall in your name, I think Wallstedt is a guy that will dominate when it comes to the goalie position, and for me personally, is Sweden's next great goaltender. But those are my top 10 picks. Thanks so much for watching, all y'all. Of course, if you're just stopping by, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit that notification bell if you haven't already. And of course, with this video, make sure you comment down below your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts on my top 10 picks, what you agree and disagree with, and also let me know who you think are the best prospects to dominate in the 2020s. Make sure you share this video with your friends. Get the prospect goodness out there with everybody you know. And also click on this playlist right here to watch all of my 2021 NHL draft content right in one place. My name is Nathan, and today I'll see you guys next video stream. I don't know why I said today. Once again, I'm just baffling myself. Goodbye.